Well, good evening. Welcome to Bedtime Stories with me, Pastor Michelle. Today's Monday, February 15th, and our daring woman of the hour is Mary Anning, a fossil finder and dinosaur discoverer. So she spent her whole life in the seaside town of Lyme Regis in Dorset, England. As a kid, she loved to hunt for interesting rocks, seashells, and fossils with her dad and brother. Then they sold their discoveries to tourists as vacation souvenirs. When she was 11, her dad died, leaving the family in a tough situation. To help out, she left school and continued her dangerous hobby of collecting trinkets to sell. She spent her days hiking, climbing, and dodging rocks as they tumbled down the crumbling cliffs. She nimbly avoided tides and crashing waves along the beach. She continued to sell fossils, rocks, and seashells, so many that the tongue twister, she sells seashells by the seashore, was written about her. Mary Anning, if that ever comes up on Jeopardy. All right. She soon made her most important discovery. After a storm, she spotted something interesting. She used her hammer and sizzled out something big and strange. It was a skeleton of a creature nobody had ever seen before. It had the head of a crocodile, the body of a lizard, flippers, and a shark's tail. Mary had discovered a fish lizard. The word dinosaur didn't even exist at the time. She hired workmen to carry it to her home. A wealthy businessman brought it and placed it on display in a museum. Her find shook up the scientific world in many ways. Before this, nobody had realized a species could become extinct. The skeleton was 200 million years old, which shattered the previously held belief that the Earth was only 6,000 years old. And paleontology, an entirely new field of study, was born. Scientists were forced to accept the fact that the natural world changed over time. She continued to scour the cliffs for fossils and made even more astonishing discoveries. She found an almost complete near lizard. She also found a fossil that was the missing link between stingrays and sharks. And some of the interesting stones that she collected turned out not to be stones at all. They were actually bezoars, essentially mineral-laden hairballs, formerly believed to have medicinal properties. Many of Mary's fossils have since been displayed in museums and have been written about in books and journals by geologists and scientists. But at the time, she didn't receive any credit, and not because it wasn't deserved, but, of course, because she was a woman. Just as the natural world changes over time, however, so has the attitude about women scientists, thanks in part to the daring discoveries of Mary Anning. So remember that. Mary Anning is the woman who inspired the tongue twister. She sells seashells on the seashore. All right. So that's a fun little fact. So today our Disney story comes to us from Wreck-It Ralph, and it's called Power Outage. It was nighttime in the arcade. The toys were all gathering in Game Central Station when suddenly the power went out. I think we're stuck, Wreck-It Ralph told his friend Vanellope. He was right. With no power, no one could leave Game Central Station. Never fear, Fix-It Felix Jr. called out. My trusty hammer and I will have this fixed in no time. Ralph and Vanellope started to make their way toward Felix to help, but it was hard to see in the dark. Crash! Vanellope ran right into someone. It was Gene, the Nicelander mayor from the Fix-It Felix Jr. game. He seemed scared. Gene explained that he had never spent the night away from home before. Vanellope and Ralph knew they had to find a way to distract Gene until Felix could fix the power. Vanellope had an idea. Party! Come on, everyone! The video game characters wasted no time following Vanellope's lead. Soon they were all happily playing party games. Come on, Gene, Ralph said, pushing his friend toward a limbo line. You should give it a try. Gene took a deep breath and limboed under the pole. He could really bend. Vanellope could see that Gene was starting to feel better, and she knew just how to keep him feeling that way. She grabbed Gene and dragged him toward the starting line for a three-legged race. Before Gene could object, Sour Bill waved the starting flag. The racers were off. Vanellope, slow down, Gene cried as he tried to keep up with her. You slow down, you lose. Come on, Gene, you can do it. Suddenly, one of the racers tripped. Everyone went flying except Vanellope and Gene. They crossed the finish line in first place. I did it, I won, Gene shouted happily. Well, we won. But you were great, Vanellope said. And look, you made it through the night, Ralph said. Just then, with a bang, Game Central Station lit up. Felix had fixed the power. You know, Gene said, maybe being away from home isn't so scary after all. So what do you do in a blackout? I usually freak out and make sure my phone has enough charge when the power goes out. But Anyway, God bless you all, my friends, and stay